afternoon. It's Eric Coffin from HRA Advisories. I'm here with Cooper Quinn. He's the CEO of Osprey Gold. It's one of the HRA list companies. Osprey, as you may or may not know, their property set is in Nova Scotia. It's in what's called the Maguma terrain. It's a well-known belt of high-grade saddle reef gold type deposits, and Osprey itself does have close to 500,000 ounces of high-grade material on a couple of its projects. But really, what's been the game changer in that region in the past few years was another company called Atlantic Gold, which discovered, essentially open pittable bulk tonnage gold zones in the sort of gram to gram and a half range. They have in fact they went into commercial production a few months ago. It looks so far like a highly successful operation, and the question among everybody has been, why is it on Atlantic Gold's projects they seem to have these broad areas of lower grade near surface gold rather than these kind of discrete little high grade veins. There's multiple high grade veins in these big saddle reefs, but usually the rock in between them, there's not much in it. And it's never been clear why do they have that on Atlantic Gold's Moose River Consolidated project? Is that just a one-off, or is that something that just hasn't been recognized in the belt? When Cooper picked up the projects in Nova Scotia, obviously they did some drilling last year for the high grade, but he's always been kind of on the hunt for that. And just recently, he actually put out the first trenching off of their Caribou project, which is in the same specific belt as the Moose River Consolidated Atlantic Gold, that does in fact have some bulk tonnage grades at surface. Can you give us a snapshot of what you reported?
Yeah, I think that's a good summary, and I think it's worth noting that this terrain is certainly noted for its historic high-grade production on these vein systems, but and Atlantic has kind of changed the thinking out there with these open pits. It's not a new style of mineralization. It's been known since kind of the early 1900s, but it was never commercially feasible back then. And now they're, I think, mining at about 1.3 grams per ton. So we've really taken that threshold for what is waste and what is ore in the district down by a factor of 10 from the 1920s or 1930s. And so we picked up some projects out there that had this history of high-grade production on these vein systems, on these big anticline structures. And one of the things we really wanted to look for there was this other style of mineralization, this disseminated style of mineralization. And we picked up some of that last year at Mitchell Lake with our drilling, and then just recently announced the first results from our Caribou project, which is located about 8 kilometers north of that Moose River Consolidated mill. And what we found in that first trench was about some reasonable intercepts that we're pretty excited about with this disseminated mineralization in the right rock type, in the argillites, which is a bit finer grained than some of the others there. And we pulled out about 8 meters of that. The key to that is that it really is at the end of this trench, so the trench terminates in mineralization. We can continue on. This is on the north limb of the trench. Since then, we've subsequently started drilling on the south limb of the trench, and then we'll go back and extend that trench in what's called the Elk Zone in both directions, actually, to the north and south. And for us, really, it's this proof of concept, this disseminated mineralization, about 8 meters of 1.2 grams, but that was within about 24 meters of about half a gram. And so, that's not like 100 meters of 100 grams. It's really right in the wheelhouse of what we were looking for and what Atlantic is successfully producing at.
That's what got my attention, was the fact that, 25 meters, okay, but the entire trench appeared to be mineralized. He ended in both directions. And one thing I think that's worth noting, this is not an area that's sort of peppered with drill holes or anything. Although it's on a property that's got a small high-grade resource, this part of the property didn't really see a lot of activity in the past.
Yeah, that's correct. So there was a historic resource from 2009 on the project of 97,000 ounces, I believe, and the grade, I believe it was about 7-8 grams, so reasonably high grade there. This is well outside of that, to the northwest of that. And I think we're about 180 meters from some of the drilling that was done on a vein that's within the beds that we've discovered this mineralization, but a pretty separate area on the project.
So you've got a fair amount of room to enlarge this, and you've got some similar numbers, some historic, and believe one of last year's holes from Mitchell Lake, which is a completely different property on another parallel part of the larger overall trend in Nova Scotia. There too, it looks like you may be onto some of this disseminated stuff.
Yeah, correct. That's some results we were pretty happy with last year. We had about 31 meters of, I think, 0.7 there at Mitchell Lake. And once again, that was within those basically mineralization outside of those high grade veins. And that was really what we were looking for there. And so that's a target we're been doing a little bit of surface work and groundwork on, and kind of just really getting ready for a follow-up program there. And so, that's kind of two areas that I think we're really happy with, this starting to put this disseminated mineralization story together, in addition to that high-grade resource, which is at Goldenville.
Well, I mean, right now Osprey's got sub 3 million market cap, close to, I think it's probably close, I guess it's at probably between the two projects, 500,000 ounces of higher grade material, but it looks like with a little bit of luck based on these trenches, you've maybe finally cracked the code when it comes to the bulk tonnage mineralization, and that's really what Atlantic Gold built its company on. And I think that's what a lot of people that are active in the region, that's what they're hoping for, and you might actually have it. So I think this is a story you really got to start paying attention to.
Well, thanks, Eric. Yeah, I think we're pretty pleased with the results. We'll have some more coming out here over the next few weeks. We've got some more trenching. We've got some historic drill holes we sampled and some other surface results coming. And yeah, that's what we see is, I feel like every CEO on the street will look you in the eyes and tell you we're undervalued. But at the end of the day, I fundamentally feel that way. And, we've got the potential here with, I think, the right rocks in the right region, and starting to figure out how this mineralization works to hopefully be a successful discovery.
Yeah, I mean, I think it looks really interesting, and again, this is a very new part of this story. This wasn't out there till a couple of days ago. It's going to take some time for the market to get its head around it, but this is a story you probably want to be looking at now. The timing's right to do it. Congratulations.
Thanks, Eric. We're pretty excited.